So now we're going to add a publish button here so that we can publish this form to the live form, and then other users can put their responses into the forms. So we're going to go with a button. We're going to keep it here on the right, and we're going to name it publish. And on clicking of this, we're going to have two workflows. One is going to the different page, as in going to the published form page and changing current form page status to published. So first we're going to make changes to the current page form to say published should change to yes, confirm. And then we're going to navigate to a different form, but since we don't have the page, so we are going to create a page first. We're going to name it published form, and we're going to clone the current page here. Let's clone it again. We're going just to keep the equal width and everything, but we are also going to be using some of, well, let's just delete it to published form, and the type of content is form. Going back to the form builder, click on publish, go to start workflow, and in this one go to the page published form. Send data to send is the result of the step 1, so it's going to send the form itself. Go back to the published form. Yep. So here we might not need this header here, but since we are going to come back and forth into the application, keep it for now, remove it in the later stage. Okay, so let's add a, oops, add, oh, not on this one, sorry, my bad. It's going to use it as current page forms form name. So we need to show a form name on the top of the page. It's too dark. Why is it showing this reference elements? Where this? Oh, okay, fine. We forgot to delete this element from here. Yep. And now we're going to have a repeating group to populate all the questions which are there in this form. In fact, let's just use the previous element here, because anyhow we're going to change few things here and there. I'll create a fresh for you to understand how it's actually going to happen. Okay, so we are going to create a repeating group. Rows should be 2. Let's keep it 2 for now. We're going to anyhow going to end up using the full list. In fact, keep it 1. Type of content is question, and the data sources current page. Sorry, data sources. Sorry. Do a search for all the questions where the question form is equals to current page form. All right. So in this one, again, we are going to create two types of component. One is to have the short answer, and another is to capture the multiple choice answer. Okay, take a group for now. Group short answer. And we're going to say add one element here. Let's change its type of content to question, data source to current cell question, and this one should be the current cell question content. So now what we want to do is we want to have an input box below this to capture the inputs value as an answer. and just copy paste it. In fact, just delete it. I'm just going to have one more condition there, is that if whenever this current cell question type of question is short answer, display this group, and it's not going to be there on the when the page loads. So it's going to check if it's type of question is short answer, then only it's going to appear. Now we're going to copy paste this thing and rename this to short answer copy instead of multiple choice. And here, instead of writing the answer, I'm just going to delete this, increase its height, and I'm going to say, okay, radio button. Let's keep it checkbox for now. We are going to allow user to have multiple types of. Uh, they can select multiple values for the as an option. So before this, we're going to have. Okay, so we're going to add a repeating group in this one. Just add it here, increase its height, go back here, paste it. Yeah. So in this one, we are going to say these are the choices which are going to come, which are going to populate from this question's reference. So what we are saying is this is a repeating group. Type of content is choice. Do a search for all the choices where the choice question is equals to parent group's question. So now it's going to populate all the choices as we have saved in the questions. And now what we essentially want is user comes on this page, have a list of question. One would be short answer, one would be like others can be multiple choice. So whenever user enters any value, it keeps on it keeps on filling all the information required for this form, and there should be a publish button or submit button to store all this value into the answer. Correct. So what we're going to do is create a submit button here. You can create it here or at the bottom of the page, however you want. Submit. And now we want all the answers which are entered in this input value should be stored in the answer. For that, we are going to use a plugin. So the problem with the bubble and why we are using this plugin, the reason being is you cannot change or trigger any action inside a repeating group from a different button. Either if I create a button here, submit, then what happens is the user will have to click on submit for all the questions. So one by one, they have to click on submit, and once they have submitted it, then they can change or whatever. But we essentially would not want 10 or 20 different submit button for the number of questions. So if we have 20 questions, it's going to show 20 odd submit button. So we don't want that, and there's no other way to there are different ways, but we're going to go with the easier one, which is using the plugin. So for that, what we're going to use is we're going to install a plugin which is orchestra repeating group add-on. This is a fantastic plugin, and we're just going to add it. So what it does, it like just like an orchestra, it has two component in it. One is maestro, one is musician. So musician is the thing which triggers the which where you can define, okay, in the repeating group what's going to what it's going to be doing, and maestro is going to trigger all those musicians workflow. So I know it can be confusing. Let's jump into it and see how it's going to happen. Okay, so we're going to have a musician element inside this repeating group. Let's keep it here, and we're going to have one maestro here outside of this repeating group. So what we essentially want is in the musician component, it's going to trigger a workflow. So for that, we're going to go to workflow, and there's a way of revealing this musician to the maestro, so that the maestro will know, so that this button, this component should know, okay, I need to trigger this component. So what we're going to do is go to element, and first we're going to reveal a musician revealed. So it's saying musician A should reveal the element initialize musicians is musicians. So what we are saying is ki on this reveal the musician class is A. This will be the name of the maestro which is going to be triggering this thing. And going back here, and now we are going to say is this is a workflow just to reveal the musician, and then we are going to say this button should trigger a workflow. This component should trigger a workflow. Which work which workflow? So we're going to say, okay, create a different one. Musician will run this workflow inside. Yeah, the musician will run this workflow inside each and every cell. So what's the thing it's going to run, which is create a new thing, create a new answer, saying answer form is equals to current page form. Let's add all the field answer. Answered is should be equals to input right answers value. All right, and answered question is the current cell question. But we also need to change one. We also need to make sure one more thing, because right now whenever you are storing the answer, we have two types of questions. So what we are going to limit this thing is only this workflow should only happen when the current cell question type of question is short answer, because we are storing the value from a input box. We are again going to do a same thing, copy paste this, but in this one we are going to trigger a workflow whenever the multiple choice question is there, and inside that multiple choice we need to change this one is answered is, instead of input we're going to say where is it, okay, what would we name to this? Okay, this should be the current cell choice name. Yeah, current checkbox current cell. So we're going to go back here. We're going to say instead of input ice. Okay, so I guess we are making one small mistake. So the thing is that the answered, if you go back to the database and if you check the type of answer, it's a text. It's a text, it's not a list of things. So what's happening is either we need to change answered as list of things, only then we can utilize this checkbox, because you can have uh, multiple checked answers stored in the database. For that, either you need to change it to list of text in the database, or what we can do is we can change this current area here to a radio button, so that it stores only one value. So for that, let's create a radio button here, right? And it should be dynamic. The type of choices. Data source should be do a search for all the choices where the choice question is equals to parent group question, and it should be the current options choice name. So it's going to populate, let's delete this one. So it's going to populate the list of choices as of now. But if we would have changed the change it to list of answer in the answered place, then it would have stored the checkbox value as well. So right now what we're going to do is in fact, let me just go back here, and okay, in the workflow answer, No, it's still not going to do because it doesn't change the value. Yeah. So on this, let's delete this. Let's just keep it. And so now what we are going to do is trigger another workflow, which was this one where the question is multiple choice and creating a new answer. Rest would remain the same. The answer is now radio buttons is value. So whatever the uh, choice name, yeah. So whatever you select in as a radio button will be stored in the answered. All right. So this is just a workflow triggering on the basis of this musician element. Now we would want is uh, to trigger this musician on the maestros command. So what we're going to do is when we click on submit, start a workflow, and this workflow is going to be, so just keep it here, custom event, trigger a musician under a maestro. The class to trigger is A. We named the revealing the musician revealed as A, this one, and trigger every cell. Yes, you can leave out rest of the date because we're going to have this trigger on all these cells. All right, you can utilize this as if you want to limit it to top 5 or cell position or triggering multiple cell, you can define it, but for our current case we need to trigger it out every cell. Perfect. So let's test it out, but for that we should go back to the previous thing, but anyhow we'll go from here. Yeah, so it's going to show lorem, so it doesn't have any form value right now. Go here. Okay, go to form 2. Let's add few more question here so we'll know something is going great. Short answer, what's the answer? Right, let's just publish it, and when we are publishing it we are also sending it to the different group. We're not showing two published. Okay, we'll see what's happening. So is first, okay, so it's showing all this kind of two sort of groups right now. Okay, search for questions, current page form, perfect. And in this one you're only going to say condition is here. This one, okay, in this one the condition should be multiple choice, then only this should be appear. So refresh it. Okay, now we have it. Answer is 4. Super good. And what's the answer? Question 1. Click on submit. Okay, we haven't triggered any sort of thing to redirect user to anywhere, but it should create app data. All answer is yeah. Super. You have all the right answers linked to the questions in the form. What we can do is now let's create another page as result clone form builder. Yeah, just delete all this. And now we're going to store is now we're going to show is question linked to the answer linked to the questions. So we are going to say is this is type of this is the type of form, and when we are clicking on submit button, which is published form, we are sending them to the answer area. Let's just do it for now. Okay, in fact let's just send them to a success screen instead. Yeah, success page. who are done and a button navigate to the page index, and let's come back here and send on submit button, navigate to the page, success. Okay, and on the result page we are going to trigger the result page from the index from this button. So we are saying okay, go to the navigation, go to the page, result, send the data of current cell form, so that we'll know which answers to show in the result page. Go back to the result page, and here we're going to say okay, these are the questions, data sources, do a search for all the questions which are where the question form is equals to current page form. And now instead of like this we are going to add more columns. So instead of just row 1 column 2, and it's going to update column accordingly. Just say verticals and full list. I'm going to add text here. Yeah, the text is going to be the current cell value question, current cell question content. Perfect. And just increase it a little bit, and then we're going to say, and now we're going to add a repeating group to populate all the answers. So repeating group, just keep it here, keep it to 1. It should be answer, data source, do a search for all the answers where the question answer equals to current cell question. Let's just add text here, and this is going to show us the answer content, current cell answer. What's the okay? Again, we have ref. I'm not duplicating again anything. Yep. So let's go back to the index and preview this, and hope all the answer we have stored should be visible there in the answer list. So view result. Let's go. Okay, so it's showing us here. No, we don't want to. Yes, okay, so horizontal scrolling, we want horizontal scrolling to be there. If I refresh it again now, is it still going to show me like this? Or okay, so it's showing me the result like this. Perfect. But we just need to reduce the, yeah, and again I'm going to change it to full list, so we'll see all the answers. Yeah. So now it's showing me the result in this half page. To just go till here and add the column S3. Yep. But nevertheless, now you are able to see that we are storing the answers in the in this form of answer and showing all the result. So if we go back and go to the index and go to the live form, should be go to the published form, which is go to page, published form, data to send is current cell form, and now you can answer it again and again and see all the results here. So not here. Go to the live form, answer is 5. So we go submit, send us to the success, go to home, go to back to the index and see the result. Okay, so the answers are here. So I'm also going to try to show one more thing is ki if we would have left it any of the answer blank, it's still going to show us the perfect result. So I'm not going to answer this. I'm going to answer this and submit home with the result. Okay, so since I haven't answered, it's not going to show me that. Yep, perfect. I'm just going to change one slide thing here so that we won't see this group and multiple choice group. I'm just going to keep it here and change its height to this part. Refresh it so that we'll see it in better design. Go to live form. Now we won't see that much of space in between the questions. Yeah, it's right here. Cool. So this is it. In the next few tutorial, in the next few edition, few other edition which you can do in this form builder is if you want to share it with other people, you can have a button here to say okay, copy this link, which in general will show you the slug of that form, and you can share it with other people to answer. Third thing you can do is you can also other thing you can also do is create a embeddable form so that any user can embed them into their own website or anywhere they want. So in that case you have to just have to create a quick iframe query and embed the result, enter the dynamic result according of that form slug into that area, and you can just allow user to copy it. If you want videos on those quick tips, you let me know. I'll create a different video for them, or anyhow will probably this video will be coming out in future. Thanks.